The visuals you see are from Litoral Penitentiary, Ecuador's most dangerous prison. Living inside the prison means life inside hell. And not just this prison, this is the reality of most of the prisons in Ecuador. Now see this. This is not a movie scene. Here, Ecuadorian police carried out an operation to disperse clashes inside a prison, where inmates fought with guns and explosives. 13 prisoners and a guard were killed in this fight. To understand how things reached this point, we need to step back and look at the country itself. Ecuador is a small South American nation on the Pacific coast, nestled between Colombia and Peru. It has a population of around 18 million people. For many years, it was considered one of the most peaceful countries in the region. Its economy depends on oil exports, agriculture like bananas and shrimp, and growing sectors such as mining and services. But in recent years, Ecuador has found itself caught into global drug trafficking. According to government data, more than 70% of the world's cocaine now passes through Ecuador's ports. The country sits between Colombia and Peru, the world's top two cocaine producers. Its dollarized economy, busy ports like Guayaquil, and once weak security controls made it attractive for international cartels. Ecuador is not a major cocaine producer, but it has become a key transit hub. Drugs arrive from neighboring countries, are stored and repackaged, and then shipped to the United States and Europe. This illegal trade does not officially contribute to Ecuador's economy, but it fuels underground money flows, corruption, and the rise of power gangs. Many of those gangs have ties to Mexican cartels like the Sinaloa cartel and Colombian groups such as the Gulf Clan. The problem started when those gangs began fighting for control of trafficking routes. And those battles did not stay on the streets, they moved inside the prisons. Ecuador's jails became command centers for criminal organizations. Gang leaders continued running operations from behind bars. One of the most notorious figures was José Adolfo, Macías, better known as Fito. He's the leader of Los Choneros. He had been serving a 34-year sentence since 2011 for organized crime, drug trafficking, and murder. Yet he continued controlling the criminal underworld from prison. In 2024, he escaped, triggering chaos across the country. Gang members took prison guards hostage. Explosions rocked cities. President Daniel Noboa declared a state of emergency and sent the military into prisons to restore order. Fito was recaptured in June 2025, more than a year after his escape. By then, Ecuador's prisons had already turned deadly. Fatal prison riots were nearly a monthly occurrence in 2021 and 2022. Hundreds of inmates were killed. Bodies were dismembered and burned. According to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, at least 663 inmates have died in violent incidents since 2020. When President Daniel Noboa took office in 2023, he made restoring order in prisons a central pillar of his security strategy. He deployed the military to 19 prisons in January 2024. Soldiers searched cells, dismantled gang-run operations, and shut down so-called nightclubs and even a private pool, once enjoyed by gang leaders. The government says these operations have reduced riots compared with previous years, but the numbers tell a more complicated story. According to news agency Reuters, inmate deaths almost quadrupled year-on-year in 2025. Out of 1,220 inmates who died that year, at least 206 were killed in gang clashes and other violence. This was the sharp increase from the previous year. The rest died from illness, suicide, or undetermined causes. Tuberculosis has spread rapidly, worsened by overcrowding and poor ventilation. At Litoral Penitentiary alone, nearly 7,100 inmates are held in a facility built for far fewer. Overcrowding in adult prisons stands at more than 30%. Many cells damaged during riots remain unusable, forcing prisoners into tighter spaces. Inside conditions are harsh. Prisoners describe tuberculosis raging out of control. Infected inmates are placed outdoors, in beds to prevent the disease from spreading. Families say bodies sometimes pile up in prison yards. Sanitary systems overflow with sewage. Food is scarce. Rodrigo Valera, Secretary General of Ecuador's official human rights ombudsman, put it this way.
According to the information we have been able to gather through all these defense strategies we have implemented, we are now facing a health crisis, a food crisis, and complaints from relatives of inmates about alleged mistreatment and torture by military personnel.
Relatives echo these concerns. Visiting rights have been suspended for over a year in some prisons. Cell phones are banned. Families often have no direct contact. Some say they must pay gang leaders inside as much as $20 to receive updates through WhatsApp.
This is what is happening here in the penitentiary. They are starving, all malnourished. My nephew was innocent. He was an innocent person. He was on the list to be released to the hospital. Every day his sister and his lawyer came. They kept stringing her along until today that they let me know that my nephew died yesterday.
In late 2025, the government began transferring hundreds of prisoners to break gang control. Around 900 inmates were moved in January alone. High risk prisoners, including gang leaders and former Vice President Jorge Glass, were transferred to a new maximum security facility called El Encierro. The prison, modeled on El Salvador's terrorism confinement center, allows no visits by lawyers or relatives. Inmates from rival gangs are mixed together and held four to a cell. Even pillows are banned as they could be used as weapons. But Ecuador's Interior Minister John Riemberg defended the approach.
Para trabajar con lo que tenemos hoy,
We work with what we have today, which is an obsolete prison system. But we are working, and that is the important thing in the measures we can take. Before, nobody was capable of mixing two criminal structures. Everyone said they would kill each other. Nobody dared to do it. We are doing it, and the results are visible. Nobody is killing each other. In El Encuentro prison, for example, where all the groups that hate each other are, they are sharing cells. Nobody is killing each other.
Still, many families say the crackdown has come at a heavy human cost.
Ni siquiera tuvieron la delicadeza de llamarme.
They didn't even have the decency to call me and tell me that my son had died. When I go to the morgue, I found my son on top of more than five bodies. My son was the only one who was very, very pale. He was nothing but bones. His whole body was covered in bruises.
In gang plagued Ecuador, being sent to prison is increasingly seen as a death sentence, whatever the crime. So, why are inmates dying? The answer lies in the mix of these all: drug trafficking, gang wars, overcrowding, disease, and a state struggling to regain control. As Ecuador turned into a key transit hub for global cocaine shipments, gangs grew richer and more powerful. They fought for dominance not just in the streets, but inside prison cells and corridors. The government's military intervention has disrupted some gang operations, but it has also created strict conditions that human rights groups say worsen humanitarian problems. Ecuador's crisis shows how global drug demand can reshape a country that does not even produce the drugs in large quantities. That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you in the next episode with more raging issues. Until then, it's goodbye from all of us here in the Delhi newsroom. This is Mark Lynn signing off. Take care and stay safe.